What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to Wednesday night's late night agenda, where it is now official. Ugo Ekitike is a Liverpool player. He signed his contract this evening. He will be headed over to join the rest of the lads in Hong Kong. We believe he's gone business class on business class on a commercial flight. And so that is the official news tonight. It is signed, sealed, and delivered. I'm sure you got your notifications earlier on from, well, wherever the club or ourselves or anywhere else. Want to start off by saying a little thank you to Connor as well, who jumped on this morning and made himself a video. Connor says blurry, not on my end. Not coming through as blurry on my end. So, don't know what to say. Again, people saying, don't be interrupting my intros, lads. So, I'm trying to do my intro. I can't be distracted by the words and all. I want to say thank you to Connor for doing the video earlier on this morning. Obviously, as I mentioned, I wasn't around earlier on today, so I had to rely on his good self to get it sorted out. How are we all? Nice to see you in. Delighted with the news this evening. We were wondering why it was taking so long to get announced, but all good things and all that jazz. So welcome in. I'd seen somebody in the chat say Prime 44 tunes for the little intro. They made it. That's they were kind enough to do that for us. So shout out to the guys of 44 tunes as well. That's something I'll treasure forever. So yeah, thank you for that one. Right, let's get cracking. Right, where do we start off with? Luke, how are we, dude? Damn, nearly 2 years. What a ride, man. Can I ask what's your opinion on us look like we're going to sign Hato from Ajax? So, good way to kick us off this evening. And Luke, for anybody who doesn't know, is a Chelsea fan, but one of the good ones. Luke, I don't know much about the situation with Joel Hato. I know last night that you guys had made a move for him, and if he ends up going to Chelsea, you're getting a very good player. Like I've said, I don't know the centre-back and centre-forward or centre-back and attacking priorities for Liverpool this summer. I don't know exactly who they're going to move for. But if Joel Hato is agreeing to that move to Chelsea and Liverpool haven't entered the fray, not really much I can say about that one. But you are, if he does sign for Chelsea, getting a very, very good player. There's no denying that. 19 years of age, huge potential. And one that I'm not going to lie, mate, if he does end up a Chelsea player, I'll be a little bit envious. I wouldn't have minded him at Liverpool one bit. Virgil van Dijk, a massive fan of Joel Hato as well. Thinks he's the greatest young defender to come out of the Netherlands in a while. So if it goes through and Chelsea wrap it up, good bit of business. Nothing else to say, mate. You know, I try to be honest with everybody, and your good self deserves honesty from me as well. So yeah, good bit of business. Mike, 19 months with us, Mike. Appreciate you, mate. Thank you. Good evening to you as well. David Massett said, evening, Craig, bro, and community. Always a pleasure, sir. So I want to say a huge thank you to a gentleman by the name of Rory, who drove from Derry today, met me in Mullingar, and gave me back my Premier League trophy that was sort of stranded over in Liverpool. Rory very kindly collected it for me when he was over there, brought it back over to Ireland, and then I met him today in Mullingar and collected it. Absolute gentleman. I want to say thank you to George and his mum as well, who picked it up for us from the venue in Liverpool. Just really reminds me what a great community of people that we have. So Rory, if you're watching, mate, thank you so much for that today. It was a pleasure meeting you. Oliver, how are we, dude? And thank you so much, mate, for such a kind super chat to kick us off as well. Really appreciate that. Rodrygo money is too much. Sell Diaz for 70 million. Or run down his contract and use him as a squad player. But Fofana, as a future backup to Gakpo, use the money for Canade where it's needed and a young centre-back. So, it is interesting to see the Rodrygo situation evolve. So, just as we finished last night, Oliver, the news kind of came out that Paris Saint-Germain were interested in making a move for Rodrygo. We know that Spurs were interested, but let's be honest, nobody's really worried when Spurs are interested. So, truth is, I don't know how serious Liverpool are or were about Rodrygo, and I've always been honest about that. James Pearce believes that, yes, Liverpool are considering Rodrygo as an option, but he doesn't believe perhaps we're as excited by the prospect of, or as far along in our interest as some others have reported. Like I've mentioned, I'm calm and I'm relaxed. How could I not be with the business that the club have done this summer? And I have to say there must be a plan. And I don't know what the plan is, whether that fan is Malik Fofana. We'll have to wait and see. But I do trust Liverpool's recruitment team. I trust the statisticians, the sports science team, that they will know exactly what they need and who they need to come into Arne Slot's squad. So if Rodrygo moves elsewhere or stays at Madrid, it wasn't meant to be. That's the way I look at it, my man. One of them type of signings. Can't wait to see Wirtz play, said Joseph, as am I, mate. I'm really excited to see him playing. Lovely little cameo to see those few bits and pieces he did against Stoke in the highlights. But like your good self, Joseph, really excited to see him play. And hopefully that'll be Saturday against AC Milan. Right, Deutscher Copite said, hi Craig, hope all is well. Thoughts on James Pearce regarding Rodrygo and the club not looking to replace Diaz if he leaves? Excuse me, not looking at him to replace Diaz if he leaves. James would know more about it than I would, to be honest with you. All I can say is I'm relaxed about it. Look, would I have liked Rodrygo? Yes. But like I keep saying, ISAK hasn't gone away yet. And what you didn't hear James Pearce say there was that Liverpool have no interest in ISAK. So if Liverpool don't move for Rodrygo, if Liverpool don't move for Jarell Haddo, I have to believe that there's a plan in place and that Liverpool know what they're doing. So I'm relaxed about it in all honesty. Would I have liked Rodrygo? Yeah. Would I have liked Jarell Haddo? Yes, but, I'm not the recruitment team. Right, let's get cracking with the news then. So we'll start off tonight with the official confirmation from the club that Liverpool agreed to deal to sign Ugo Ekitike from Eintracht Frankfurt for a fee that is £69 million with a potential £9 million in add-ons. One of the things that caught my eye was they had, I think it's 11 things or 13 things you need to know or didn't know about Hugo. And one of the things in it was carrying his team forward. So it says, Opta analysts show that Ekitike's skill set also includes the ability to not only advance his team up the pitch, but turn such moments into goal-scoring opportunities. In the past Bundesliga campaign, he tallied more carries and ended up with a shot, 44, than any other player, a full dozen more than the next highest. Hugo also ranked joint 5th for carries that led with chance for his side with 17, and Wirtz was one of the 4 players above him. So, look, the club did an ungodly amount of research to try and find out who is the best fit. And this from Lewis Steele really caught my eye as well. Liverpool's data tests showed that nobody other than Erling Haaland and Kylian Mbappe scored higher than Ekitike in their data tests for number 9s. So this wasn't a deal that Liverpool were just doing on a whim. Liverpool have been looking at Ekitike for a while, like I've mentioned. And the data analysts show that he is the perfect guy for the system and the way Arne wants to play. And now he's a Liverpool player. So welcome to the greatest football club on the planet, my man. Justin, how are we, Justin? Said, I'm not 100% sure we are sold on Rodrygo. Now, I'm not saying he's not a good player. However, right now, is he better than Diaz? So just be careful what you wish for. So, it's a lot of money, is what I would say for Rodrygo. You're talking about a very hefty wage packet and a substantial transfer fee, which probably would be somewhat offset by the potential sale of Diaz. I'm relaxed about it. Look, I love Rodrygo. I've said this many times, but let's just wait and see how this pans out. Liverpool have done very good business this summer. Georgi Mamardashvili in, Armin Pexi in, Woodman in, Frimpong in, Kirkes in, Wirtz in, Ekitike in. I'm sure I've probably missed one in that long list there as well. It's really good business, and I'm buzzing as a Liverpool fan. Yes, we still have to bring in the centre-back and get that situation sorted, but what I can say to you guys is I think there's a bit more optimism around the Canade situation than perhaps we think there might be. I'm starting to get the feeling that Liverpool are, I don't want to say confident, but we feel like there's an opportunity and a chance there to extend Canade. So keep an eye on that situation, because I'm starting to get a little bit more optimistic that maybe Ibu would stay. Luke, how are we, dude? Said, hi Craig, I'm so happy to have your channel to go to every night. Helps me actually feel part of something and help me through my really tough times. It's helped me as well, mate. It really has. And thank you for being in. Look, I know sometimes people get a little bit bored and come in and think, 2-hour stream, I have to leave halfway through or whatever. I get it. I do these streams just to touch base with everybody and to have that human connection as well. And And I could do them just in an hour like other channels, but I don't want to because I enjoy the time on here. So I can go back to an hour-long stream. If I was reading through some of the comments, sorry, I should probably give this context. And some people just feel like maybe the streams are a bit long. I get it, but ultimately I just think it's the right fit for us. But, you know, that's why we do the mix of content as well, the shorter bits and pieces if people want the 8-minute update videos. But I love these situations. I love the live streams together. And also somebody said, can we do more stuff, me and Connor together? Absolutely not. For the same reason I've always said, I'm greedy. You're my audience. I'm not sharing you with anybody. But I'll have to say, Connor's been brilliant. That video we did earlier on today as well was a credit to him. So fair play. And as a friend, it's lovely to see him start to come out of his shell a little bit more in these situations, because he's always felt like he wasn't a front of camera type of guy. And I've always known he has that great sense of humour as well. So well done to Connor again today. This is part of my routine, said Jeremy. Same, mate. If I don't do one of these streams, the day just doesn't feel right, you know? Right, let's keep going anyway. Let's talk about ISAK, shall we? So this from Ben Jacobs on TalkSport said Liverpool are not going to give up. They want Alexander Isak. Whether that's now remains to be seen. So I think that's one thing we can say confidently now, is that Liverpool are not going to give up yet on Alexander Isak. Now, whether we can get him now or whether we have to wait down the line or whether he ends up signing a new deal with Newcastle, it is pretty clear to me. I think Liverpool want 2 nines. That's my guess. And I don't think I'm on my own in that. A gentleman called Aaron posted on X asking a question to Ben Jacobs and said, can you confirm or deny Liverpool are interested in him if a deal between Bayern and Liverpool to materialise? Asking about Rodrygo. And he said, there is clear appreciation from clubs, including Liverpool, but a deal is also deemed quite expensive. I think we'll get more clarity on Rodrygo next week, but this is the really interesting part for me from Ben. I think we'll get more clarity on Rodrygo next week. All I can say for now, and as reported before, if Luis Diaz is sold, another attacker will come in. Whether it's a left winger, we'll have to see. Could also be another number 9. And that's what I'm wondering here. So we know if Liverpool have a target, whether that have been Rodrygo, Joel Hatto, or whomever, and somebody makes a play, if Liverpool really want that player, that's when they jump into action. So I can only assume if Liverpool are standing back and letting the Chelsea situation with Joel Hatto happen, that maybe we weren't going for Joel Hatto. So I have to trust that there's a plan, and I actually do. For once, you know, after all the years of moaning, I trust that there's a plan for this window. And I'm happy to just sit back and let Liverpool do what they need to do. Zenik said Hatto to Chelsea for 40 million. Fabrizio, has it been given the here we go yet, or is that the conversation? Now, to be fair, Chelsea have had a long held interest in Joel Hatto, same as ourselves. So not surprised at all to see Chelsea looking to make a move for him. Yeah, look, Chelsea are a club on the up and up as well, building a young squad. So, not surprised, but again, I have to just assume that we have our own plan, and maybe Joel Hatto wasn't part of that plan. Or maybe he just wanted Chelsea. There's also that as well. You know, I can't say for certain that maybe we didn't. And maybe he said, no, I fancy a move to London. I really just don't know, but I am calm about it all. 40 million euro is a good price. It is, Sam. It's certainly a fair price. There was talk at one point that fee gone up towards 60, but 40 was in and around what we always expected to be the number for Joel Hatto, and yeah, it's a good fee. Finty, happy birthday. I just seen a couple of people in the chat saying happy birthday to you, bro. Welcome in and happy birthday. Newcastle are carefully managing the narrative now. Isak wants too much. Isak's head's turned. We hope he stays. I think they're sitting in a room with Newcastle saying sign your replacements. I just don't think... I just think Isak wants to move, in all honesty. And if he's asking for 300 grand, and that's shocking Newcastle, because, you know, that's what's been put out there in the media in the last day or so, is that Newcastle have been surprised by Isak's request for £300,000 a week. Just sell him then. I know a club that are willing, and like we said earlier in the window, could help you with your own window. So what do we think? I'm not giving up on Isak yet in this window, let alone giving up on him full stop. I think Liverpool still think there's a deal to be done here. I really do. Uh, okay, seriously, pay 130 million for ISAK and give him 300k a week. This is not the Liverpool I know. Well, obviously, this is a Liverpool that we're all getting used to. Oliver, it's certainly a big change attack from Liverpool, but I ain't going to be unhappy, mate, if we end up with Hugo Ekitike and Alexander Isak as attacking options with young Rio, with Cody Gakpo, with Mo. Bring it on. This one from SDO said Diaz and Chelsea out, then sign, or Chiesa, excuse me, Chelsea on the brain now, dude. Chelsea on the brain. Diaz and Chiesa out, then sign Gordon and Gay. I don't mind keeping Nunez for another year. He's a good personality around the camp and a good sub. So you had me up until the last line. I just, again, like I've always said, I don't want people to be upset when he leaves, because he's going to leave. So Diaz, look, I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting really annoyed by the Diaz situation now, because it's very clear what it's all about: money. And like I've said, no probs. People can be motivated by whatever they want, but I'm not having the likes of Pepe Sierra start to badmouth Liverpool and talk about Per Diaz is only the 18th best player at the club. I don't care. He's been well paid and he's playing for the greatest football club on planet Earth. If he wants to move to any other club, and that's what it seems like, Bayern, yeah, I'll go there. Al Nassr, sure, I'll go there. Barcelona, heck, I'll go there. And they all have one thing in common: the willingness to pay him more money than Liverpool are paying him. And it's becoming really clear at this point. So for me, I just want it done with, because, like we've all said, we all want players that want to be here. And now the narrative that they're trying to put out is that Liverpool reneged on a promise. That was the latest one from Pepe Sierra last night. And that's a big statement to make publicly, to accuse the club of reneging on a word. And it kind of reminds me of, remember I said to you why I was really, really annoyed at Darwin for making an accusation against the club as well, that he wasn't being played over the 5 million. I don't stand for this in my mind as a fan. You know, you signed a contract, you're here at the club. If you want to move, no problem, but the move has to work for Liverpool as well. Like, Diaz is obviously excited by the prospect of moving to Bayern, obviously excited by the prospect of a massive pay rise, but it has to work for us. And if Liverpool aren't yet at a point where they feel like the numbers make sense, tough. You're going to have to wait it out. I rewatched Nunez lowlights last night and it reminded me why he's got to leave. So Jeremy, I get Diaz wants to leave, but pick a club and F off so we continue our generational window. Look, I don't want to be toxic about it or anything, but when it starts to get into, how do I say this? It feels to me like they're getting to the point where they're trying to force the situation. And that's when things can potentially go a little bit toxic. And I don't want that to happen. If Diaz wants his move away, he should be putting the pressure on Bayern Munich to get to the number. Like I've said about Darwin and many others, it's all very well and good, all these clubs selling the vision to a player. But if they aren't going to back that up with an offer that the selling club, in this case Liverpool, is going to accept, it's just wasting everyone's time. So let's hope that they come good with that £70 million offer. And that's one that I think at the very least Liverpool will consider. This one, Diaz on 63k a week, that's absurd for his quality. So, is it though? One, the club have briefed that he isn't on that money, and I can only repeat what the club have briefed to people. They say he's closer to 140 with bonuses. But either way, Leighton, think of it like this, mate. He was at Porto before he came to Liverpool, and I think he was on about 12 or 14 grand a week, something like that there. And he came to Liverpool and he signed a 5.5-year contract on the terms that he's on. So I was more than happy to commit to that 5.5-year contract. Now all of a sudden, bigger dough is being flashed around, and Liverpool, for whatever reason, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, don't seem to want to give Diaz a pay bump. Do I have sympathy for him? No. not a little bit. Because I tell you what, I wouldn't mind 65 grand a week. I wouldn't mind somebody guaranteeing me 15 or 16 million quid over a 5-year deal. But like I said, I'm a Liverpool fan. Players come and go. My best support, my best wishes are always with the club. And I don't have sympathy for lads earning multiples that any of us would ever earn. Cry arson about it. You signed a contract, you're being well paid, you're winning things. That's the way I look at it, mate. Finty said I turned 51 today. Happy birthday, sir. Much love from all of us. Any Canade news? So, Paul, I'm getting some good vibes when I'm speaking to people about the Canade situation. Obviously, nobody can commit to an answer because we don't have an answer. But what I'm hearing is that the club don't feel it's a formality that he's going to go to Real Madrid. Now, I don't know if this is delusion, if this is the company line being put out there, but I hope we can sort it out because, you know, he is Virgil's centre-back partner, and if the club can agree a new deal with him, happy days. But I'm getting more optimistic as the days go by that perhaps there's a chance here that he will extend his time. Owners often lie too. Maybe, but like I've said, I don't care what Diaz gets paid. And I mean that sincerely. I don't care. Because ultimately, none of us can just kick our employer's door down and demand more money. You can't do it in your job. I can't do it in my job. Nobody can. We can ask for it. We can say we feel we're deserving of it. But ultimately, we're tied into a deal. And that's the way it is. Like I've said, I hardly think he's been harshly treated. But if he can get a move that's better for him and makes more money, great. But it also has to work for the selling club. Gay being told by Palace today that he's got to sell him this summer. Joyce has confirmed we're interested, can see us moving from the next few days. I tell you what, how amazing would it be if Liverpool ended up with Canade, Gay, Virgil and Gomez? I don't know if it's possible, not because of the money involved in it. I don't know if we could convince Mark Gay to come in and battle with Canade, or I'd hope that we could say to him, look, we think over the course of this season, you're going to get more than enough games. We're going to have to rotate. We'll be playing 2 games a week. The odds are a centre-back will pick up a knock at some point as well. And I'd love to think that there's a world where we can still go ahead with that one. But I just get the feeling that a young centre-back is the way we're going to move if Canade signs on for a new deal. Right, let's get going. So this one. So again, sticking with that one, like you've said, Lee, Crystal Palace have informed Mark Gay that their preference is for a sale and they're now welcoming offers. A move to Anfield has looked the most likely this summer. However, they currently believe Crystal Palace's asking price is too high. So maybe it's a waiting game. Maybe, like, let's say, for instance, Mark Gay said to Liverpool, I'd love to come and play for you, Arne. You'd be my number one choice. Then it's a game of hold your nerve and trust Liverpool to get the deal done. Because Spurs are going to come and knocking, Newcastle might come and knocking again. You know, he won't be short of offers because he's a good defender, he's homegrown, and his contract situation means Palace have to sell. But I can't sit here and tell you 100% I know that we're going to be the club that go make that bid for him. But it feels like he's been hanging around waiting for us. And I hope that that's the case. Mark Royal said, I'd rather Julian Alvarez over ISAK. Am I alone? No. He's my number one choice, mate. But from what we understand, and I think the good folks in the chat will probably be able to fill you in on this as well, is our understanding is that he just has no interest in coming back to the UK. It's not a Liverpool thing or anything like that. It's just he doesn't want to come back to the UK for lifestyle, cultural reasons. And if that's the case, you know, it's a really tough deal to get done, isn't it? So I'm with you though, mate. I'd love Julian Alvarez. He'd be ideal for us, in my opinion. But unfortunately, it just doesn't look possible. David said, who's been hanging around waiting for us? We're trying to figure out the situation with Mark Gay, Dave. Somebody said about the Palace, letting him know that he's going to have to be sold this summer. And I think he knows that as well, because he's not willing to sign a new contract at Palace. It's just a matter of who's going to blink first. Are Palace going to drop their asking price? Are Liverpool going to play this one all the way to the end of the window? Or do we just move to another target? The truth is, I don't know the answer to it, but again, I trust in the process this summer because they haven't let us down so far. George Wilson Hayes, how are we, George? I'm welcome in, mate. Said, I'm absolutely blown away by your business this window. It's really the stuff of legend and dreams. Right, here, sir. Here. Still pinching myself, mate. It just doesn't feel like... Do you know what? Let me read this out to you, mate, because it kind of summarises it all, but also gives us a bit of something to look forward to. So there's one particular thing that Paul Joyce said, which is a spending spree of almost £300 million is set to continue. And how good does that feel to hear? A spending spree of almost £300 million is set to continue. Wow, what a summer. What a window. Hi Craig, hope you're well. Sorry I'm late. Is there any major updates today? Well, Ugo Ekitike has been confirmed by the club, mate, about, I think, just over an hour or so ago. So that has been done and dusted. He is now officially a Liverpool player. And Lewis Steele said that Liverpool's data test showed that no one striker other than Erling Haaland and Kylian Mbappe scored higher than Ugo Ekitike in their data tests for number 9s. So that one's all wrapped up and official now. He's going to be travelling over, I think, tonight, if I'm not mistaken, to meet up with the rest of the team in Hong Kong ahead of the game against AC Milan at the weekend. Will that come too quickly from the future? Who knows? But I'm glad now that he's over there on that pre-season tour. At least he'll be joining up with the boys and can start that process of assimilating himself into the squad. Carl, how are we, dude? Said, I see Chelsea are in talks for Hato via multiple sources. Is there any other young defenders you could see us going for if Gay doesn't come through? Absolutely, mate. We were talking, there's Leone, the youngster from Parma, but the kid from Toulouse, whose name came up yesterday in conversations, might be one to keep an eye on as well. Just bear with me, dude. I just want to... yes, this one. So there was a report yesterday for Gimme Sport that said Liverpool are continuing to keep a close eye on Toulouse centre-back Charlie Cresswell, with the 22-year-old firmly on the radar of the club's recruitment team after being scouted on multiple occasions last season. He was part of the England under-21 Euro winning team, and I think he's about 6'3" as well, so that would be the right type of profile. Like you've mentioned, we all kind of had thought, maybe hoped that Hato was going to be possible, but at this moment in time, it's looking like he's going to Chelsea. Fabrizio Romano, Chelsea have reached agreement on personal terms with Joel Hato. Negotiations advancing to final stages, as fee discussed now is about £35 million. Crispy Sesh said Luca is looking good. He could be an option. Yeah, Luca Stevenson is done really well, and I think he's even said today he's a little bit surprised that he's even on that pre-season tour. So certainly Arne shown once again that if a youngster stands out, impresses them, they'll get at least the opportunity to be in and around the first team. So, and fair play to him. He did not look out of place at all in that brief 45-minute cameo against Preston. In what was a very emotionally difficult day, of course, as well, for everybody. It was the first time everybody come together, really, fans and players, I mean, since the tragedy with Diogo and Andre. So, to do it in that occasion as well, certainly done himself no harm. George or Jorge, I still don't know which one I'm supposed to pronounce it, dude, because I want to say your name correctly. So let me know the next time if it's George or Jorge. I don't want to insult you, mate. Will we break any financial rules this summer? No. And on that, I'm going to be recording with Mo Chatra tomorrow. So that'll be out Friday morning, we believe. And Mo Chatra is a football finance expert, and we're going to talk about exactly what you've mentioned. The fact that Liverpool have lots of breathing room. He'll take you through exactly how it's possible, because he's far more intelligent than I am. And he's going to break down exactly how we're able to do what we're doing and what might be still possible for the rest of the window. And basically the first question I'm going to ask him is, Mo, tell me how we can afford to sign ISAK, please, because that's what I really want to know. Do you think it'll be more of a title race than 25-26, said Corbyn? Or excuse me, in 25-26. Don't know, mate. It's hard to know. There's loads of variables, obviously. Arsenal have done some good business. Chelsea have done some good business. But Chelsea and Man City are coming in off the Club World Cup as well. What impact will that have on their season over the course of the season? Lots of variables. How quickly will Liverpool's team gel together? But I think it is going to be an exciting campaign, and I think it's fair that we're going in as favourites, but I'm not arrogant enough to sit here and say it's a formality. We're going to have to earn the right to win a league title. Sky Sports said Man United tried to hijack Ekitike last minute. They did make an inquiry, but I really don't know why they bothered. Like, how did they think they were going to convince Ekitike to leave Champions League football, be it with Eintracht Frankfurt, Liverpool, Chelsea, Newcastle, or any of the other interested clubs in them, to go and play at Old Trafford in the Nothing Cup? I just never seen how that was possible. So, you know, I've always said it, and I said this before it started becoming more spoken about. Nicholas Jackson, I can see ending up at Old Trafford. Where Chelsea are getting their 80 to 100 million pound valuation of Nicholas Jackson from, I do not know. Well, I know that they're trying to make it a comparable deal to Ugo Ekitike, let's say, but to be fair, Jackson hasn't really done it in the Premier League that well with Chelsea, so I don't see how they can come up to an 80 to 100 million pound valuation. But I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up at Old Trafford and you have Ubomo on the right, Cunha on the left, and maybe Jackson through the centre. David said, exciting times ahead, Craig. I'm absurdly amazed how well we've done this window. No more where's the money. John, hope you're well. I'm buzzing, dude. Buzzing. And like you've said, absolutely no more where's the money, Johns, for me for a while, because this window's been nothing but impressive. It's not done yet, though. I feel like we've got to speak about that. There is still business and work left to do. We've got to sort out the centre-back situation. We will probably need another forward, maybe two, depending on what happens with Chiesa. But, you know, halfway through the window, we've done really well. And I would expect a lot of sales as well to come up over the next few weeks. So how are we feeling about Ekitike now that he's done? We happy? Confident? Excited? Do we feel we've overpaid? Let me know your thoughts on that one, because I've read quite a mixture over the last few days from Liverpool fans. I'm in the quietly confident camp, I think. You know, don't know all that much about the guy, but looking at what the club have looked at with regards to the numbers behind it, the stats behind it, hearing people like Julian Laurent and people far more up to date on Ekitike than I would be speaking about him. I have the feeling that we've gotten him at the right time. That's what I can say, because there was no denying he was a talent when he was at Rome before. And he went to Paris Saint-Germain, and for whatever reason, it didn't work out. But I feel we've got him at the right time, if that makes any sense. So he's gone and had a very good season with Eintracht Frankfurt. Even after they lost Marmouche, he had a really good season there. And I just get the feeling we're catching him at the right time in his development physically and as a footballer. And I really feel under Arnold's tutelage, we're going to see the benefit of it. Never know what the price until they play. Yeah, exactly. And the good thing is, if he does well, none of us are going to be discussing the price, because none of us ever discussed the price of Alisson Becker or Virgil van Dijk. So yeah, like you've said, if he does well, nobody will be talking about the price. I'm just waiting for Everton to be linked with ISAK and Rodrygo. Actually, speaking about Everton, so the Merseyside derby has been moved, and it could be moved again depending on if we get Champions League away game on the Wednesday. So there was a couple of fixture changes and announcements today. So the Merseyside derby is now on TNT Sports, a 12:30 kickoff on Saturday the 20th of September. But that could be moved to a 12 o'clock kickoff on the Sunday if Liverpool are away in the Champions League on the Wednesday. And also the Liverpool game against Burnley is now 14th of September, and it's on Sky Sports at 2 o'clock. So George, we're going with George then, right? George, we're going with George. I worry expectations are extremely high. All these new players need time to fit in the system. Yeah, they do. But Frimpong, I think, was already settling in fine. Um, Kirkes has Premier League experience. Wirtz is the one. Wirtz is the one, George, that I can't wait to laugh at other clubs' fans over, because the amount of people that are really sleeping on quite how good Florian Wirtz is and why we went so big to sign him. I'm going to enjoy this season when he hits the ground running, because so many people are sleeping on him as a signing and think we've been fleeced, basically. I'm extremely excited. I don't know if I've been as excited for a player to sign for Liverpool in the last 6-7 years as I have been from Wirtz coming in. I'm buzzing. Craig, what's happening with Darwin? He'll be sold whenever somebody ponies up the money. There's more interest coming from Italy, but again, will they have the money to do it? Don't know. There's still interest coming from Saudi Arabia, where I think Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes probably feel like that's where the money will come from. So we'll have to wait and see on it. Now, remember, we were always told that the plan would have had to have been to sell a striker before we go out and buy Ekitike. And we haven't done that yet with Darwin. So the club obviously felt the need to push on with the Ugo Ekitike signing, whether it was because of it was a time-sensitive thing or Arne needed more time in the training pitch with him before the season started. But ultimately, I feel like, again, that's an indication that Liverpool are expecting that sale of Darwin. Eddie said, I've always been happy for Ugo. I was more wanting him than I was ISAK. I want both though, Eddie. I want both, mate, because I think that'll give us the best of both worlds. I've always understood anybody who was mindful of the injury side of ISAK and the price. It's hard to push back on anybody who has concerns about that. But if we were to get both, mate, the options that would give us, it'd be incredible. And it is possible. It's still possible. Liverpool still have eyes for ISAK and aren't giving up. Andy said, is Chimikas being sold? I don't know which one of the left backs is going to move on, mate, at this moment in time. You know, at the start of the window, there was that interest from Atletico Madrid in Andy Robertson, and we'd wondered, was Robbo going to maybe move there and try something new? They obviously went and signed, I think it was the Atalanta left back or something. So that didn't come to fruition. Robbo was 1 year to go. I would say it would likely be Costas that would be moved on. I really don't see a world, unless Liverpool have no centre-backs, and that's a more worrying situation. But I do think Costas, at a guess, would be the one to move on. He makes the most sense to me because Robbo's a better defender. And even in the latter part of his career, I feel like if Robbo's playing for another contract this season, we might see his level go up again. And again, I would like Milos to be working on the training ground with Andy Robertson as well and getting to know, well, the finer points of Arne's system. Carbon. Hey, Craig, how are we doing today? I still think that we should keep Darwin. I know you don't hear that, but it's not that I don't hear it, mate. I even asked last night on the stream, because somebody said do a poll. And I said, what should happen with Darwin? And 67%, or maybe, no, 63%, sorry, said that still want them to go. So I get it. I understand people thinking good backup option, at least works hard. I get it. I totally do get it, but I just don't want it. And I don't think that the club do either. I just think he's had every possible opportunity. But I can promise you one thing. If he's a Liverpool player when we kick off at the start of the season, I will hope he does well every time he steps on the pitch. But I'd be amazed if he's still here. Nunes has more goals than Firmino in his first 2 seasons. I remember we wanted him out. I never wanted Firmino out. You can't lob that one on me. Immediately, I said to people when Firmino came in, don't be talking about goals with this guy. Because Firmino was never coming in to be a number 9 in the sense of what we think of as number 9s. And his ability in the team and his impact, I don't think should be measured with goals. So I was never anything other than in love with Bobby Firmino when he came in. And look, Darwin's goal record per minutes, if you look at it in that sense, it's not that bad. But if you look at it for the amount of chances, it's not great. He's done up numbers, but he probably should have done double those numbers with the amount of chances he had. Some of them, by the way, he created himself. And Ryan said Liverpool cut out Wirtz's prediction of his goals. Oh, sorry, in the video. Sorry, I didn't know what you meant. I have no idea what to expect from Florian in that sense. Goals and assists, I really don't know. But I can't wait to see those feet moving and those little slight feints and drops of the shoulders. His brain is going to be glorious to watch in action. Is there a world where we spend 500 million in this summer? Yeah. I mean, even trying to be realistic about it, let's say we brought in, even if it's the young kid Fofana, that's probably 60 million euro. A centre back's probably going to be another 30 to 50 million pound. So you're right up there over 400 million at that point. So, it's absolutely possible that we could see something approaching 420 to 500 million in total player purchases. But the key will be how much do we bring back in sales. But yeah, 500 million quid window, as mad as it sounds, is not impossible. We're approaching 300 now. Hairline Harry played football alone in my garden yesterday. First time in around 3 years. I'm 22. This window has me wanting to go play, not just watch the pros play. That's class, mate. I'm well in. Baby steps and all that, bit by bit. But fair play, mate. Go join a five-a-side league or something like that. Connor started doing it as well, actually. He plays five-a-side every Wednesday night. Well done. Delighted to hear that, my man. I'm wishing you nothing but the best. If nothing else, outside getting a bit of fresh air. I could do some of that myself. What are your realistic predictions for Liverpool in the Prem of the Champions League? The aim should be to win both. Now, of course, nothing's guaranteed in life. But with the team we have, I think if we were to say that we don't expect us to be pushing for both competitions, I think we'd be liars, really, wouldn't we? Our squad should be capable now of competing on all fronts this season without a real huge drop-off. Or even if the likes of, if another lower league or lower team cup game comes up, we should have a far stronger reserve set of players to come up than perhaps we did last season when we played Plymouth. So, yeah, I'm expecting us to hit the ground running. I'm really looking forward to the game at St James's Park, and I can't be the only one who's looking at that game going, we need to prove a point in this game. We need to go up there and quieten St James's Park. So I'm excited for that one. I don't think the opening day of the season is going to be a stroll in the park either, because Bournemouth are a good team. It'll be interesting to see how many of the new players start the season, or how many maybe start to be brought in bit by bit. But lots still to go through, 2 games over the next week over in the Asia part of the tour. Then we've got Athletic Club Bilbao twice. So, and then of course the Community Shield as well. Hobbit Hoskin, how are we, dude? Said when Ekitike was at PSG, he was behind Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe. That's why that move didn't work for him. Keep up the good work. Love being here. Thank you, my man. Stephanie Dupree said Ebu has been offered a new contract proposal today. I've seen a few people talking about that. Now, I've nothing to add to it because I don't know, but I hope it's true. It'd be great if it is. And on Ekitike, like I said earlier on, Shane, I'm relaxed. He's 23 and he's coming into the club, and I think we're getting him at the right stage of his development. He's had a taste in the Bundesliga, obviously over in the French First Division as well, France twice, been there with Rome, then PSG. I'm good. I'm looking forward to him. And I don't know if it's a bit of, over positivity, but I'm actually excited, especially when I think about the link-up play. And the more I read up on him, the more I think that he might well be that link that we've been missing through the middle, whether he bangs in 35 a season or not. If we can get somebody there that's linking up play and helping us create, that's not going to be a bad thing either. Imagine the banter if we get ISAK and have to play Newcastle second game of the season. Yeah, you couldn't be playing him in it, could you? Like, being realistic, that'd be a tough one. You'd have to come up with one of those famous Newcastle injuries for that one, I think. So let's ask about Ekitike. Let's ask how people are feeling about Ugo Ekitike. 1 second. So, right, so how are you feeling about the Ekitike signing? We go with buzzing first. He will be great. I'll go with unhappy, just I'm sure there are maybe a couple of people who are unhappy. Let's go with unsure. So, is there another option? So, we've gone with buzzing, he'll be great, unhappy, unsure what to think. Is there another option there I'm missing, or have I covered it all? Can't really think of another. Yeah, cautiously optimistic. Yeah, I think cautiously optimistic was a great suggestion by somebody in the chat. Yeah, we'll go with cautiously optimistic. I think that's a really cool phrase. So well played. Thank you for your help on that one. Right, so there. How are you feeling about the Ekitike signing? And it's spelled HPW now, how apparently, because I'm not a moron. So how are you feeling about the Ekitike signing? Buzzing, he'll be great. Unhappy, unsure what to think, or cautiously optimistic? Let me know how you feel. Do you realise, Craig, that we signed our first palindrome today? I do, but only because somebody else told me yesterday. But yes, it is our first player we've signed that spelled the same front and back. Ekitike, 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 Ekitike. But yeah, I'm not clever enough to figure that out on my own, mate. I think actually Chris Donage said it to me in our WhatsApp group. So thank you for that one, John. Craig, are you ready for the Adidas deal? Oh, yes. Yes. The bank account's ready. The wife's been told to ignore any money missing from the bank account. Very, very much ready, Jody. Hoping we get a little bit of Adidas love on the channel, Shamelessly plugging the Adidas gear for a long time. But yeah, can't wait. And we're only, 8 days away now? 9 days away from the officially launching. So, the more you see the leaks of the kits and the warm-up stuff and the retro stuff, yeah, the more excited I'm getting. Torchwood said, when will Vert play in the game? When? Well, he played against he played 45 minutes against Stoke the other day, so I'm sure we'll see him against AC Milan on Saturday. It's a 12:30 kickoff for this one, but yeah, I'm sure we'll see him then. Ojo and Kabak were also palindromes. You see. But Ojo, I think, came through our academy, so technically wasn't signed. And Kabak, again, we never fully signed. He was only on loan. So I think our friend still has some credibility to what he said. But Kabak, we never actually signed. He was only on loan. Mr. Trick with how do I feel said just a laugh 77. I totally understand your point, mate. He's a good player, but I have to believe that Liverpool have a plan that obviously doesn't include Joel Haddo. Don't know what else to say. We was always going to be attracting attention this summer. Quite frankly, if I'm being honest, it felt surprising that nobody'd really made a play at this stage of the window for him. So with Chelsea moving, he's obviously open to it if he's agreed personal terms. Yeah, just one of those. We're just going to have to let it happen and move on. Are there any rumours about Ezri Konsa? Yes, I seen one today. Yeah, I seen a rumour today, but I've got to say I'm not sold on Ezri Konsa. I'm just not. Maybe I'm underrating him, but yeah, he was talked about as maybe a potentially cheaper option than the Mark A, but I don't know. I'm not sold personally. Alex said, "Watch the Newcastle side today," and they were saying how funny it is seeing the scouts just getting wound up over ISAK. As far as I know, we're all relaxed. If it happens, it happens. The only people Alex getting wound up about ISAK are the Geordies, and far too much so. They're living in a level of delusion that I find hilarious. In all honesty, like I really do. They will convince themselves if he stays that they've won, but ultimately over the course of the season, when they don't have a deep enough squad because of the Champions League and playing twice a week, it will show itself again and they'll be moaning. And if he picks up an injury, they'll be moaning. So I'm relaxed about it. Your good self's relaxed about it. Any Liverpool fan I know is relaxed about it. And the only people losing their minds on it are from the Newcastle side. But, you know, like with many things in life, a lot of people make themselves feel better by trying to shit on other people, and they don't have a lot to be happy about from the window so far, have they? They brought in Alanga. That's about it. Mohammed said, "You know, Craig, everybody that questions Ekitike and say Nunes round two, I respond with one thing. In Edwards, we trust. What are your thoughts about that?" Absolutely. And not just in Edwards and Hughes, but Edwards, Hughes, and the data team. You know, we signed Darwin at a time when it wouldn't have happened if that same recruitment team were here. Now, I can never tell you exactly why we signed Darwin, but it certainly feels like we signed him off the back of one good season and a good game or two against us. And I don't think that would have been enough for Edwards to have pulled the trigger on the deal. So, just yeah, I like you, mate. I trust the process. Evening, Craig. I'm very well, thank you, mate. Sorry, got in late. Wondering if you heard anything on ISAK deciding to get on a plane to join Newcastle for their tour, as I heard he might not join them. There should be no point in joining him. He's injured. So, you know, there'd be no point in going over there to play if he's injured, is it? He has to do his, you know, training on his own because he's definitely injured. Definitely 100% injured. No doubt to my mind he's injured. He's injured. All I can say to you is Liverpool aren't giving up, and Liverpool will still be there for ISAK in January, next summer, and until he signs on the dotted line and signs a new deal at Newcastle. But the line coming out of Newcastle doesn't seem to be one that's expecting a new deal. If they're balking at the 300 grand a week expectation, if they're, you know, almost flirting with the idea of Al Hilal, let's wait and see what happens. But one thing, he wants Liverpool. Geordies might hang on to him, but when they put their little Geordie heads down their little Anton deck pillows at night and they wake up for their Gregs in the morning, I'm sure that they've had a dream or two and they know that ISAK wants to come and play for Liverpool. That is undeniable, in my opinion. So let's wait and see if the man's dreams come true or not. Super excited about incoming season. Hugs. Thank you, Michael. Hugs right back to you, bro. Would you think that Torchwood Empire would be great as a football club? No, I wouldn't. Anything with the word empire in it just sounds pompous, in my opinion, bro, to be honest with you. So, no, I wouldn't think it would be a great name for a football team. Torchwood FC, fine, but Empire, no, seems a bit pompous. What are your thoughts on Malik Fofana? I really don't know much about him, is my honest thoughts on him. But if you've got clubs like Liverpool, AC Milan, and others looking at him, the kid must have something about him. I don't watch much French football, so I didn't really see a season with Lyon. But again, it's just, I trust the process. And if it's Malik Fofana, it's Malik Fofana, and we'll welcome him to the club. But like I keep saying, I don't think we're finished yet with the with the ISAK saga just yet. Tommy said, I don't believe ISAK is wanting 300k a week from Liverpool. He just knows the demands won't be wanting to be met by Newcastle. I said the same thing the other night. I wouldn't at all be surprised if he signed for Liverpool and we ended up hearing he's on a 220 grand basic with add-ons or something like that. But ultimately, Newcastle are doing everything but the one thing that they need to do to make the situation go away, which is give him a new deal. And until they give him a new deal, this situation isn't going away. So let's wait and see what happens. David said, does that mean not going for Haddo, we're going for Gay, Konza isn't good enough for Liverpool? So again, it might mean that we're going for a young centre-back if Canade stays. And that's why I've been trying to say to everybody over the last 3 weeks, I think Canade holds the key to the centre-back situation. Now, there's a very good argument to be made to say, just go sign the young centre-back anyway, because if that was the plan, and if Canade leaves, you're going to bring in Mark Gay, we should probably go get the young centre-back anyway, because we still need the bodies. 4 centre-backs is what we need minimum for first-team centre-backs going into a new season. Then you could have Nalo, Stevenson, Endo, or whoever else filling in, but we need 4. So if Canade stays, fully expect it'll be somebody 2019 to 22, somebody in that bracket. Ruthless said, not fully sold on Ekitike, but hopefully he proves me wrong. And why are we signing so many players from the Bundesliga? Not complaining, though. I would only imagine it's because it's a good quality league. It's a league where maybe there's better value to be had for the club than potentially, let's say, Premier League to Premier League moves. And you're not wrong. Like, we have signed a lot from the Bundesliga, but not many real failures from in there. Like, even going back to Bobby Firmino. So obviously they just feel it's a good market with a high level, with well-coached players. And obviously, if you've already been in Europe playing, even if you're a South American or anything, it's less of a transition then to come across. Watching for years and finally getting signed up. I'm hoping you mean the channel, Alan, and thank you, mate. Appreciate you. Welcome in. Great to have you with us. If anybody wants to join our FPL team, by the way, Mark will stick the link into the chat there for you. We set up, I did nothing. Mark set it up yesterday, so our FPL is open if Mark wants to throw the link into the chat. My FPL team, Kicking Kitty, allegedly. Mine is Geordies Love Craig. That's my FPL team name this year, John. I'm not even joking. That's genuinely the team name. Nedge made a good point there as well. Thank you, Nedge Urban Sports. Said Bundesliga closest to the Prem in terms of physicality. Another really good point, mate. Yep. I think the Bundesliga is a really underappreciated league for quality. You know, when we're talking about leagues that we all watch and stuff, a lot of the time we're talking about La Liga, which I would be, an avid watcher of. But the Bundesliga is a good quality league, and I think it's slept on a little bit. Where else were we? Paul Vowell said, with Wirtz signing, can't think of many Germans that have played in the Prem. Havertz, let me think back through. Chan, with us, obviously. I'm just trying to think of Liverpool. Babel. I'm sure the chat will help me out here on some more. Sean Dundee, wasn't he German? Or am I wrong on that one? I'm sure there's a few more as well. Didi Hamann, yes, how could I forget Didi? Yeah, Hamann, another good one. RTE Pundit, said Timo. Yeah, actually, I should have remembered Didi since I have a signed Didi a man shirt upstairs. Yeah, Michael Ballack, another good one. Joe Matip. Well, obviously Matip, Cameroonian, but yes, you're right. Karl Heinz, yeah. Karl Heinz. What was another one? Bastian Schweinsteiger. Ziga. Gundogan, yeah. Gundogan's a good shout as well. So yeah, there's been a few. This one from Ian Hunter. Good afternoon, Craig from Toronto. been watching everything every day for weeks. Best stuff out there, especially no real coverage in Canada. Thank you so much, Ian, and great to have you in our community, my man. Loris Karius as well, Meza Ozil, Sebastian Freund, Jurgen Klinsmann, Emre Can, Marcus Babel. Voronin was Ukrainian, if I'm not mistaken, Andrei Voronin. We did bring him in from, I think, on a free deal from Leverkusen, if my memory's right. Andre Schürrle, yeah, another one. Mustafi, the defender, yeah, from his Arsenal days. Shocking. Per Mertesacker, yeah, that's another great show. Firmino's, well, he's not German, but he did come in from the Bundesliga, like you've said, mate. I think he's talking about German players, though. Jens Lehmann, great show. James, yes, great show. Eric Meyer from Simon Jones, another good show. Jerome Boateng, yeah. Nicholas Fulkrug, yeah. Tony Kroos was never in the Prem. Robert Huth, definitely. Pascal Gross. Leroy Sané. I mean, you lads are on fire here. Tony Rudiger as well from Mohammed. Yeah. Well done. Thomas Hitzelberger. Wow. Gnabry. Yep. Wow, yeah. Timo Werner. Meyer is Dutch, RB said. Thank you, bro, for clearing that one up. That's class. So yeah, I think we've safely said there's been a few then. There's been more than we probably thought. And thank you again, Ian, mate. Appreciate you. S4T, how are we do? Said, saving up to come to watch Liverpool with my youngest, not cheaping from South Africa. But when we do, I'd love to make sure it's a game you're at, because my young one would love a photo with you. He introduced me to your channel, best decision ever. So I say this quite a bit, but South Africa, I think, is our 4th most watched country. And it's always, since I've been a child, since I was watching World's Strongest Man with my dad, I've always wanted to go to Sun City in South Africa, and I've always wanted to visit South Africa. So maybe if you can't get over to Liverpool for a game, maybe I'll get my ass over to South Africa at some point. But if ever our paths do cross, it will be my pleasure to take a photo for you with your young fella, or your young one, sorry. Yeah, it'd be a pleasure, mate. Sorry, I was distracted myself. My FPL team name was called Real Batasma? Rail Batasma, sorry, mate. I'm butchering that for you. Much sorry. My mate has a really cool name. So his name's Jimbo Byrne, and he calls his team Bern Munich, which I think is really funny. Thomas, thank you, bro. Really appreciate your support. So on the Canade thing, can I ask where people are seeing the reports? Because as I said, I'm playing catch up a little bit today, so I really, really hope that that's true, because I'd love that to be the case. Like I've said, I'm hearing some growing optimism on the potential of Canada extending, so fingers crossed. Market and the man who shall not be named. No, look, give Lynch credit. We don't not talk about David Lynch. If his work's been mentioned, we credit the man for his work. So yeah, if David Lynch has mentioned it, then I'm sure, he's probably hearing good things as well. Liverpool's still going for ISAK. Yep, we are. And, well, I say going for. We can only go for him if Newcastle ever changes their position, but we're not giving up on him just yet. Put it that way. Right. Klopp when he ran on the pitch to celebrate against the Blue Shite, that was amazing. That was absolutely amazing. If you go back and watch the watch along from that, I think it's one of my best ever reactions as well from that game. Because the whole chat there was so much, just give the title to Man City, just give up, we failed, we've bottled it, just over and over and over and over and over. And I kept saying, don't give up, don't be thrown in the towel. And then it happened, and I just exploded, to be honest. Like, I don't know what else to say, but exploded. Mutt said, unfortunately, Shells lost 3-0 to Karabag. I'd seen it was 1-0 after 12 minutes, just before I was coming on, Mutts. And look, they're a higher caliber side, aren't they, Karabag? So not at all surprised to see Shells losing that one, but hopefully still a good few quid made. Craig, are most of your subscribers from Ireland? No, the United Kingdom is where most of our subscribers are from. So it's United Kingdom, Ireland, America, South Africa. That would be the top 4 for us. And then Canada would be somewhere close after that. Timo said, best ever pundits for me, Giles, Dunphy, Diddy. Oh, the whole RTE crew back in the day. All of them. So, Chippy, John, Diddy, obviously, modern times we have, what's his name? Oh, played for Millwall. Richie. Richie's really good as well. But I don't think English people fully appreciated what we had over here with our pundits. Like, Eamon Dunphy was just different gravy. And the shit that the Irish pundits could say, they wouldn't get away with saying on, like, BBC or anything. They were blunt, to say the least. And I appreciated it growing up, but I appreciate it more right now. The level of punditry that we had in Ireland during my youth and growing up anyway, it was just top notch. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. Loved that pre-match. Loved all of it. Right, so here's this post that you guys were talking about. So, Ibrahima Kanade has received a new offer from Liverpool. An improved proposal has been sent to the French defender, said Santi_J_FM. So just to confirm what you guys mentioned earlier on. There you go. And hopefully it's terms that works for everybody. And that would be great. But either way, it feels like we may get to a resolution one way or the other now. So if another proposal's being sent, not sure how it will be received. I'd be guessing to tell you. But if that is accepted, great. Job done. If it's not accepted, it'll be interesting to see if Liverpool look to keep negotiating, or if we're at the point of, well, this was the best offer kind of thing. And I wouldn't know, so... would be great to hear pundits say he's shy. Oh, honestly, you should watch some of the clips of the Irish pundits on RTE, of Eamon Dunphy and Liam Brady, John Giles. It's incredible. Douay has liked Ekitike signing post. That's probably because they played together at or came. Well, Douay would probably be a youth player, wouldn't he, when he was there? But he's a former PSG player. So we're heading for 2,500 votes. If you haven't voted yet, please do. What we were asking you tonight is, how are you feeling, or who are you feeling about the Ekitike signing? Buzzing, he'll be great. Unhappy, unsure what to think, or cautiously optimistic. So if you haven't voted yet, please do. Going to be awkward if we can't get the required fee for Lucho. And the only person that's made that awkward, though, mate, is his camp, not Liverpool. So it's getting to that point now where I think we're right on the edge of toxicity. And I don't want it to happen. I never want it to happen with any of our players. But let's see. If the £70 million offer comes, let's see if Liverpool accept it or not. Because it definitely does feel like he's angling for the move at this point. So we're going to just wait and see what happens. Norman said Zabarani to PSG. Have they agreed a deal with Bournemouth? I know that they had an offer earlier on in the window that was rejected, but was expecting to come back in. You know, one offer rejected and not gone back. I never thought that was over, but haven't really seen anything new on it to let me know. And I'm going to ask you about the proposed 70 million from Bayern Munich. I'm going to ask you about that in a moment. I'm going to ask you what you're thinking about that one. We didn't get a video from the club for Ekitike. I think it'll probably be get him over to Hong Kong, and they probably have a team over there. And I would imagine you could do that in a hotel room. You could do that fairly easy. Little sit down interview. I wouldn't be too stressed about it. I think we'll see it soon enough. Right, Mutz, say what you see. Said, Sound couldn't believe it when he was on the RT panel, knowing you could just say what you want. Brilliant. And then you had après match, Craig, during the World Cup and Euros. Class. They're all on YouTube. Après match, one of my favourite things ever on television, Mutz. Absolutely incredible. Some of the funniest stuff ever. I love it. I'm so glad I got to grow up with après match. It is absolute comedy gold. Love it. Soonest, that first word. Yeah. I mean, they couldn't believe it. Like, I remember asking Diddy Man about that when I spoke with him. And I asked him about, the difference of being on RTE, and he just couldn't believe not what they could get away with, but he couldn't believe the freedom that they have to give honest, unfiltered views. Mohammed Al-Mafud said, do you think Dan's and Rio be given a chance this season, given our potential lack of depth in attack and the devastating passing of Jota? So, Rio, yes, 100%. Dan's, I think, may go out on loan. Sunderland are interested in taking him back on loan again. And certainly what I'm reading from journalists suggests that Dan's get fit, get some time under his belt in pre-season, whatever, and probably late in the window with a loan. But Rio, I think, yes, definitely will see Rio get some opportunities this season. But again, we got to let the kid progress at whatever Arner feels the right trajectory and amount of game time is. But so exciting. Jalen Drake said, what's up, Craig? Glad to have found your channel. The only place I go for news on Liverpool, tuning in from America. Thank you, mate. Really, sincerely, all of you. I say it all the time, but thank you so much. It means so much to me that you guys tune in. Trust me to deliver the news to you and make up part of our community. Even speaking with Rory earlier on, I absolutely love that I get to do this every day. I love that I get to talk to such wonderful people. And like I've said many times, you guys have just shown me that the internet can be an uplifting place as well as a place for shithousery for people like me. But I really appreciate your support, Alan. Thank you. Shane, Kunasatatu Machara said, as I've said before, we're blessed with RTE pundits. Dunphy, Giles, Brady, football, Brolly, Spillane, Gaelic, Jerry Loughnane, hurling, and George Hook, rugby. I agree with everything you've said, Shane. Every single word, mate. Brilliant. The only thing that they're missing is me on RTE. That's it. We've got plenty of good people working. Owen McDevitt and doing the stuff that he does in Premier Sport. Love Owen McDevitt. Love the second captain, lads. Brilliant. But RTE are missing a bit of me. That's all we need now and then. Do you know what? It does annoy me, Shane, that this country, my country, our country, have never ever given us any recognition as a channel. You wouldn't even think we exist. We've never got an interview for a paper, a magazine, asked to go onto a radio for anything. We've just been blanked by our own country. And I'm not going to lie, dude, that sucks. Because it's hard enough in this country as a content creator to get noticed unless you're selling beauty products. That is something that I do really, really have a chip on my shoulder about. I won't lie, I do. Rio was the right age to either be loaned out or spend a year around the first team. I think spend a year around the first team is what I'd do with young Rio. I know that people say if you're good enough, you're old enough. But it's not the here and now that's really the problem. It's you don't want this kid being burnt out at 25, 26. Or you don't want a player like him that's explosive with trickery, starting to pick up muscle injuries. Like, just talk to Michael Owen about what that did for him. Even Rooney. Like, Rooney didn't really make the full length of his career that he could have, because I think maybe played a little bit too early, too much. And I don't want the same to happen to Rio. So I trust Arna with his development, and I think we'll be teased with him a little bit. He'll come in, and then often at times players are taken back out of the firing line or back out of the public eye for a little bit. But sometimes you just can't hold a player back. And Rio, I think, is getting to that point now where he's shown Arna every week on the training ground what he's doing. There's always been rumours that maybe he's embarrassed a few on the training ground and some clips have been held back. But either way, you can now see why Liverpool worked so hard to bring him in from Chelsea. Right, so that was just Connor confirming that Canade one. So yeah, it's certainly starting to do the rounds now that there's been a new offer put in to Canade. So I read this wrong at first, dude. I read this as no thank you, not no thank you. So at first I was like, what's he getting angry at me for? He said, no, thank you. You give plenty of people a chance to have a voice in a community when they don't have one. You, sir, are a gentleman. Thank you all. That does mean a lot to me, dude. You know, my reputation means a lot to me. And there's enough people on this planet that want to rip me down, but I don't think they know me. And I like to think I'm a kind-hearted person. I'm honest and I'm blunt. There's those two things I am. But I love my community. Anybody you meet who's met me, that'll be one of the things I've spoken about with them. I love it. I love that we do this. I love that we're together. I learn a lot every night from you guys as well. And I think I'm becoming a better person as a father, as a husband, and as a human because of you guys. Cresswell will be a smart purchase, said Aaron Garza. Big frame, English, young, and reasonably priced. So I have to say, Aaron, I didn't really ever know the lad existed. But within an hour of reading that post saying that we were looking at him, I was convinced that he was already the next Maldini. And it would be very, very clever business to get a nice, good centre-back that's gone out to France, had experience, obviously won the under-21 Euros with England, homegrown, right age profile, enough experience to now start to introduce in. And you could be absolutely spot on, mate. There has to be a reason why we've stayed off the Joel Haddo train. And maybe it is that we want a homegrown centre-back. And maybe he's the guy. So watch that space anyway. Damon said, Craig, how is Stonage doing? Really good. Really good. We've started the Anfield Agenda podcast this season. We did our first episode last week. There's a 2-week hiatus now because the two boys, well, Steve's off on holiday and Chris works for the World Snooker Tour, so he is in Saudi and China at the minute. So yeah, really good. But we're going to be doing that every Monday, and it will be out for members first, and then it'll be out on Spotify as a video podcast. It'll be up on YouTube. But yeah, once a week we're going to be doing that for next season, and I am buzzing to get back doing it. Love the two lads, and yeah, it was lovely catching up with them as well. Chris is going to be at this show. So my last ever stage show, Chris is going to be there. Connor won't be there, ironically. Chris is going to be there. Steve is going to be there. I'm going to be there. We'll have a musical act there, and we're going to make it a night to remember. So yeah, 15 quid for your tickets if you want to come and see us. Hot Water Comedy Club, last ever stage show, and no better place to do it than our home in Liverpool. What do we know of Nathan Collins, said Frank Slater. Anybody? Well, is the question what do we know of our interest in him, or what do we know of the player? Because I could tell you quite a bit about the player. Obviously came through, I think, Selbridge, if I'm not mistaken, or Cherry Orchard. I can never remember which one of them it was. Was a captain at 18, I believe, as well. Then came through at Stoke, did really well. Got his move to Brentford, and I'd be buzzing if we signed Nathan Collins. I think, again, he's not a sexy foreign name, so some people might just go, "Ooh, signing a Brentford player." But I think Nathan Collins will be a good piece of business. And again, comes from a good footballing family, very good pedigree, and always been a leader. So I'd be delighted if Nathan Collins became a Liverpool player. Shane, Tomé Gamot, August Tussa. Back to Croker Sunday for the All-Ireland final. Up the kingdom. Hopefully Sam will be back where it belongs Monday night. No, it's definitely not going to be in Dublin, Shane, where it belongs. But no, wishing you the best, mate. Obviously, massive rivalries there, but wishing you the best. Cresswell is a good shout. Yeah, I don't know much about him. But so let's end this poll because we're nearly at 3,000. And I wanted to ask you about the Diaz offer. So we need, 20 more votes to get this one up to 3,000 votes. So the question was, how are you feeling about the Ekitike signing? We only need about 20 more to get there. So if you haven't voted really quickly, just hit on the button and we can ask you then about the Diaz situation. Nearly there. 5 to go. One more. Legends, thank you. Right, so buzzing, he'll be great was the most pressed button for the answer. So people feeling buzzing, Ekitike will be great, love it. Next one is cautiously optimistic with 32%. Unsure what to think, 11%, and unhappy, just 1%. Giannis said, Craig, my man, we're winning the lot this season. Mate, sign me up. I'm on board. HMS Pistol League ready to go again, Giannis. So sign me up. S4 he said, sweet, if you're ever in Cape Town, give us a shout. Kieran. Give him nice, strong Irish name. Absolutely love it. Well, do say hello to Kieran for me and send him my love. And yeah, hopefully, man, if I ever get over to South Africa, it would be an absolute pleasure. Right, let's ask you about Diaz. So, should Liverpool accept a 70 million offer? Yes, no, or unsure. Right, so should Liverpool accept a 70 million pound offer for Luis Diaz? I should probably put in for Diaz. So should Liverpool accept the 70 million pound offer for Diaz? Yes, no, or unsure. And the reason I've said 70 million pound is that's the number that apparently Bayern Munich are going to be coming back with an offer of. And it is pounds, yes. Let me just go back to my notes and I'll read it out for you. So where are my notes from earlier on today? Here we go. So Bayern Munich are set to make an improved offer for Luis Diaz and are prepared to pay up to 80 million euro or 70 million pound. And that was from Alex Crook and Ben Jacobs. So that's what Liverpool are expecting to be put down on the table. And now I just want to know what you think about it. Is it enough that maybe Liverpool can say, yeah, get it done and just move along with it? Or do we drag the situation out a little bit longer where it maybe has... I think it has the potential to get a bit toxic at this point, and I don't want it to happen. So right now we're over 510 teams in our FPL, which is already a record for us. But if you want to join it, again, Mark can put the link into the chat, and I'll try to add it to the description of our shows as well. Actually, Mark, if you could just post the FPL link in here, I'll post it in and pin it if that's all right, mate. If you could just post it into WhatsApp for me. We can sell him for 100 mil if it were Saudi. Yeah, we probably could. But if he wants to move to Bayern, it'll be interesting to see what Liverpool do with the 70 million. You're right, we could probably get more money from Al Nassr. There was talk that Ronaldo would personally ask Al Nassr to try to sign Luis Diaz. So yeah, maybe there could be more money there. Right, thank you, Mark. Right, I'm going to post in the FPL link. And I'm going to pin it to the chat. So if anybody wants to join the Anfield Agenda FPL, it will be pinned in 1 second. There we go. It's now pinned to the top of the chat. So welcome in. And I look forward to finishing either above or below you because I will be bang smack in the middle because that's about my level. To be fair, I'm a mid-table merchant in FPL. Rodrygo's absolute class. He put us over the top. So there's mixed reactions on the Rodrygo situation. Some people feel that Liverpool aren't interested. Some people feel Paris Saint-Germain are obviously going to come in with an offer. There was talk last night that already let it be known they'd pay 100 million euro. So I don't know where we're at. James Pearce doesn't feel that Liverpool's interest is advanced at this point. Even speaking or seeing the likes of, I think it was Ben Jacobs or Lewis Steele, one of those gentlemen said that it's not advanced either, that Liverpool certainly have looked at him, know about him, but I couldn't sit here and tell you if we're going to advance and try to make an offer or not, I don't know. Why should we drop our pants for low Diaz offer? He previously said he was happy to see it was contract. So I get that point as well, Steve. I guess it's just a case of what number is the right number. Do I think personally £70 million for Diaz is a good deal? I don't think it's terrible. You could probably maybe push another 5 million out of it, I think. But I think I'd take the 70 million. I think I would, just to again push us on and allow us to move on in the market as well and look for that replacement and give him a bit more time with Arna. I wouldn't like it to be an end of the window thing where we're kind of rushing around and trying to bring somebody in and not having a lot of training time with them. But totally appreciate where you're coming from as well. Right. Ashley said, keep Diaz, pay what he wants, sell Costas, keep Robert to support Kirke's growth, keep Nunes and buy Gay. What a squad we'll have. Nunes will sub in New Legend just like Origi. Yeah, but you're assuming that Darwin's going to be happy to be a sub in a World Cup year, which I don't think he will be. Certainly, his national team manager is going to want him playing more time coming into a World Cup. And I can't imagine he'd be happy as a bit part or off the bench player. Pay Diaz what he wants? No, I don't see the sense of that at all. Because let's be honest about this. Diaz has an offer of about 230 grand a week in sterling on the table from Bayern. He's not worth that in our squad or in their squad. He's not. Has he really replaced Sadio Mane adequately? I would argue no. He's been inconsistent. Sometimes, yes, he's looked a world beater. This season, very good season. But since was it knee injury? I don't know. I just don't think he's worth breaking the bank for with regards to wages. So, yeah, no, I just don't think it. And also this fucking snarky attitude of wanting moves away all the time, whether it be Daddy talking about Barcelona, whether it be him talking about Bayern Munich this summer. I'm kind of done with it all, and I'm fed up of players trying to make Liverpool look bad publicly. So again, my loyalty is to the club, and for whatever reason, Liverpool don't seem to want to give Luis Diaz a pay bump. And I don't know the reasoning. I don't know if there's something in the numbers that we're not seeing, we don't understand, but they don't want to do it. So when we don't want to do it, there's two options. Sell, or he leaves for free in 2 years. That's the way I see it. Simple as that for me. But like I've said all the way through, I like Luis Diaz as a player, but I don't think he's worth breaking the bank to get anywhere near the type of money that Bayern Munich are talking about, because I don't think he deserves that type of money. Curtis, how are we, dude? Said, hi Craig, just tuned in. I'd take the 70 million, but would you rather Rodrygo for that money or the likes of Fofana and a centre back? I'd rather Rodrygo because I know a lot more about Rodrygo. And the centre back, don't worry about. Put that out of your mind. That's going to be sorted out one way or the other. We have that money because we sold Kwanzaa. It's just waiting to see what Canada is going to do. And I think then we'll move for that younger centre back. So we don't need to worry about that one. But Rodrygo, as well as being kind of a sexier name, I guess, in the world of football, I just know a lot more about. But I'm relaxed about it. Whatever the club want to do, I think this summer they've earned the right to have my trust in anyway. So I'm relaxed about it. Why, by the way, I also find it really mad that people are asked about what other football players or players in the team are earning. Not that they're asked about what they're earning, but that people feel like it's insulting. Oh, poor lad's only on, let's say, 65 grand a week. Still money you and I could never dream of. It's still money that makes him a multi-millionaire. It's still money that very much gives him and his family a great standard of living, deserve for his talent. But I don't understand the the disrespect that some people are willing to do for our club. I had it with Mane. Remember the same thing? Remember when Mane was wanting to leave? It was Liverpool don't appreciate Sadio. Bayern Munich will do that. They'll pay him the great wage that he deserves and all this other shit. And how did that work out? So ultimately, this comes down to one thing: not sporting ambition. That's not what's pushing Diaz towards Bayern Munich or Barcelona. It's money. And I don't give a shit whether he's a multimillionaire 10 times over or once over. I care about players that want to be playing in the team and want to win and achieve stuff at Liverpool. And if you don't want to be part of that and you aren't happy with the deal that you openly went into and signed, that's your problem, in my eyes. Oh, it's a pretty overwhelming vote so far on the 70 million. So do have your say if you haven't. So have you not asked yourselves one thing though? All the people that are saying pay Diaz what he wants. There must be a reason why. Because Mo got his payday. Virgil got his payday. Hendo even at the time got a pay bump. New deals have been given out to Connor Bradley. Deal going to be given to Rio. So it's not like the club won't pay people that they think deserve the pay bump. So there has to be a reason that he's not getting it. And we aren't privy to the information that the club have. So I just don't like Liverpool being belittled publicly like that, because we're not working with the same information the club are. And I can only trust that they don't think he's worth the money. Norman said, Benjamin Sheshko, age 22, goal stats not bad. If Liverpool come for him, he'll choose us, the Man United. Yeah, of course he would. But I think a lot of clubs have been put off by the asking price from RB Leipzig. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, dude. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I'm surprised he hasn't had a move this summer either, because he has a lot of talent and he's a big physical presence. Still young. I'm surprised that he hasn't moved yet. Craig, what do you think of Canade news from Marca that Madrid unlikely to happen? I hope it's right. It'd be great news for us and it'd be good stability again for the club. So, yeah, hopefully Canade signs that new deal. That'd be great. And I would very much then enjoy coming on here and belittling all the Madrid mouthpieces. So, yeah, fingers crossed that happens. All we know at the minute is that there's a story that he's been offered a new deal. We don't know if he's accepted it or not. Santi Auna, Aouna, Santi _J_FM, said, understand that Canade's received a new offer from Liverpool, new improved proposals being sent. And I believe that was for Foot Mercado. So somebody asking about the new kit. It's 1st of August. The Adidas stuff officially, will Liverpool officially change over to Adidas 1st of August. AD said, I think we should challenge Chelsea for Haddo. Look, I think a lot of us would like Joel Haddo, but there's obviously a reason we're not doing it. David said, I feel like I like Diaz, but he's being greedy. So I don't even want to say that he's being greedy, David, because in any walk of life, we all want the best terms in our jobs. So I totally understand that he's looking for more money. But you or I have two choices. If we go to our boss and say, Sabrina, can I have more pocket money? She'll either say to me yes or no. If you go to your job tomorrow and you go into your office or whatever and you go to your boss and go, I want more money, they're really going to say, yeah, let's have that conversation, or no, we can't do it. And then it's up to you to decide, do I carry on in this job or do I look for another job? And Diaz has every right to want more money. And if money motivates him personally, and again, I'm not judging on what motivates somebody. Everybody comes from a different background with a different circumstance. I just don't want the club getting shit in the media. That's it. Privately, Diaz and his agent can talk whatever they want to do. They can put pressure on the club, whatever. If he wants to move, great. But like I keep saying, it has to work for Liverpool. If it doesn't work for Liverpool, much like when Darwin was talking to Napoli, it's all just noise. You know, if these clubs value these players so much and want them so much, then pay the asking price or don't. Zach said, I'm not mad at Lucho. I think Liverpool are running down his contract and being a free agent at 30 isn't easy. I mean, I'm not mad at him either, to be honest with you. Like I've said, I like Luis Diaz. And I'd be more than comfortable if he stays. I just don't want to get in toxic. And that tweet, post, whatever you want to call it, last night from that Pepe Sierra gentleman really wound me up. Because they're talking about Renee promises in May that Lucho was given and whatnot. And that needs to fuck off. You know? Diaz is liked by lots of us. But you have to also admit that for at least 2 seasons now, we've had to listen to him and his entourage flirt with moves, whether it was Barcelona or whatever. It's not a great look, and it's disrespectful. His father was talking about dreaming about playing for Liverpool or playing for Barca while he's at Liverpool. I think the club deserve a bit more respect than that. So again, like I said, everybody has their own free will to make up their own mind, but ultimately, I'm a Liverpool fan, not a player, not a Luis Diaz fan, not a Mo Salah fan, not a Virgil van Dijk fan. I love them all, but I'm a Liverpool fan, so I want what's best for the club. David, good night, mate. Always a pleasure to see you. And I literally just read out your super chat, David. So apologies, it was a bit late, but I read it out a moment ago, and I'm guessing you'd probably put that in, mate, before I'd read it out. But either way, apologies if it was a little bit late. What do you think about Ilya Zabarani? I don't know much about him, but if he's at Bournemouth, I'd say he's probably a decent player because Bournemouth have an eye for talent. Obviously, Milos Kerkez came through. But I've always doubted whether we'd be in that conversation because of the price. The initial offer from Paris Saint-Germain, I think, was about 60, and that's more than we're going to spend on the defender this summer. Who wants Grealish? No, thanks. Pass. He can keep Jack Grealish and his stop start play and his 300 grand a week. No, pass on that one. Craig, Nunes wanted Napoli. Napoli wanted Nunes. Why didn't hand in a transfer request to make it happen? Wouldn't have made it happen. Transfer request wouldn't have changed the damn thing. Napoli were cheap. That's the answer to it, mate. You know, Napoli didn't even want to get to £50 million for Darwin Nunes. So, and they can cry poor mouth when they have the money coming in for Osimhen. They sold Kavisha Kvaratskhelia. They've Champions League football again. So Napoli were just being cheap. So, you know, like I said at the time, stop wasting everybody's time and spending a month talking to a player and winning them over and then not doing what you knew needed to be done because there was a price put out there for Darwin. Everybody knew it, knows it. It's just been one big waste of his time. And I don't think Darwin should have to put in a transfer request either because he's forgoing quite a chunk of money then. And he has a good contract at Liverpool, and I'm sure Darwin will continue to train and do all the right things until the time comes when he gets that move away. Ivan Schwackhoff saying Liverpool confident to getting ISAK. Well, then you can take it to the bank. My mate Ivan doesn't lie, except when he was talking about the links to Jack Grealish. Ivan, come on now. It's the only thing I've ever looked at and went, Ivan, no. Can't be talking about nonsense Jack Grealish stuff. Am I wrong to think we still get ISAK this summer? Because I can't lie to you, I'm feeling confident about it. So Sasha Cavalieri is now saying Ibrahim Konate received a new contract proposal from Liverpool. It's funny how Sasha Cavalieri is always the second person to post stuff, isn't it? It's always straight out. As soon as somebody posts something else, Sasha's straight in there backing up the exact same thing somebody said. But he did credit us, so I'll give him he's got good taste. I'll give him that one. But this offer would significantly increase his wages. Konate is now considering options as he opened the door off the record to Madrid recently. Well, whatever the answer is, I hope Liverpool move quickly from whichever side it is. If Konate and Liverpool agree, great. If he doesn't, then I hope that we can get to the next stage of the process soon, because the longer it drags on, the worse it is for everybody. I'm hoping we get both ISAK and Rodrygo, then giving Diaz and Konate sales on top. I've always felt the Rodrygo stuff was more optimism than reality. If you're just looking at the numbers involved, and I'm not really talking about the transfer fee, because that could be affordable, but if he really is on a wage of about 300 grand a week or something, I just don't see that stacking up for Liverpool. Do we need a left winger that badly for that much money? Probably not. And I would rather spend the money on ISAK if possible, and have ISAK and Ekitike, Gakpo on the left, Rio on the left. It just never felt it was going to happen to me as much as I would have loved it to have happened. Itachi said Rodrygo for Diaz, ISAK for Darwin, and Ekitike for the angel above or number 20. I think ISAK could really happen. Newcastle should take £120 million. They should. They should. Or maybe, try to do a deal on Elliott, but they absolutely should. I said that at the time. I felt like it was short-sighted not to take it. Diaz can still do a job. If ISAK can't move, then sell Diaz next summer. Look, I agree, Hardy, mate. No problem with me with Diaz staying. I just don't want it to get toxic. And I don't want him to maybe have a bit of a sulk if he doesn't get the move. But no doubts about him staying. He was really good for us last season. Helped us out by playing centrally as well. So please don't ever think that I'm sitting here saying I don't appreciate Luis Diaz. I do. I very much do. But I can't make Liverpool offer him a new deal. Kangarooso flat. Love the show. Thank you, Sam. Appreciate your support, mate. I don't know if that's a typo, if autocorrect digit 30 or something, or if it's a place I've never heard of, dude. But either way, thank you. Appreciate you. Right, let's wind this show down. So we asked, should Liverpool accept the £70 million offer that's been spoken about from Bayern Munich? And 84% of you guys and girls that voted said yes, we should accept it. I thought it would be a bit less than that, to be honest. I thought it would be about 60% maybe said yes, but I would say yes, but of course you'd never say no to more money either, would you? But I think £70 million at least getting to the conversation. Oh, Kangaroosu is New Zealand. Is it? Oh, you're joking. Sorry, I'm confused. Is that a real place or is it a typo? But either way, thank you, Sam. Appreciate you. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go record the late night update because there's a few new stories that have dropped into my inbox. So thank you all. Really appreciate your support again tonight. Thank you to Connor again for jumping on earlier on to do his video as well. And to you guys for all the wonderful comments to him as well. That meant a lot to me to see that people are supporting Connor as well. So appreciate you. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Much love.